Hello, I'm Sophia.
And hey, I'm Kristin, and we are
Under the Barbell.
Over the Bullshit.
And we're a podcast for women who are sick of being told to just eat less, move more, and what they really want is to get strong, take up space, feel confident, and age well.
That's what we're all about, empowering women to live for more than a before and after photo.
So, wherever you are, grab a coffee or a pre-workout and hit play, because your anti-diet culture BFFs have arrived.
Hello, you
Hello,
bobbers.
You bobbers. Happy Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah,
I was like, wait,
Tuesday.
when do we release these? Yeah, on Tuesday. Hi, happy Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's up? What's new?
Not a lot new. The only thing that I wanted to make sure I brought up for my bullshit is, so today is, we just said happy Tuesday, but we're recording this on a Friday. And one of my clients, Kimberly, has a new single out. And it is fucking, I love this song so much. She's been talking about this song. It's called Stripper for a Week. She's been talking to me about this song for almost as long as I've been training her, which is over 2 years. And
God.
Yeah. And so she finished her album, I don't know, several months ago. And she had another single out at the end of 2025, maybe in the fall or early winter. It was called Modern Day Woman, and also a great song. But selfishly, I was like, why aren't they releasing Stripper first? Because that Stripper for a Week is such a freaking good song. And so, but they, record labels do what they do. But now, Stripper for a Week is finally out today. And I love it. I'm so excited. I want this song to do so good. So y'all need to go and stream Stripper for a Week by Kimberly Kelly and share it. It's country. She's very country.
Yeah.
She has maybe a 90s country kind of vibe. It's not really,
Nice.
She doesn't sound like current modern country, but she's good. And that's the thing, man. I want this song to do good.
Is this
want
her
it to
first?
just no,
First single?
That's the
okay.
thing. She's been at this for about 20 years. And yeah, for a long time. And so, she put out Modern Day Woman, and it did okay, but not super great, not as great as, everybody hopes. And she'd had another album prior to this that I'm not, so she has a very long story. Y'all go to her website and learn, but she was signed with Toby Keith's label right before, and she was just about to go on her radio tour and all that, right literally while they were getting ready for the radio tour. He was diagnosed with cancer and had to start, so everything came to a screeching halt and it didn't go forward. And so then it took a while to get things going again, and so she finally got this album going. And I know she's been really excited about this song. Like I said, for years she's been talking about this, and so finally it got to be released as a single. And I'm posting about it. I'm everywhere I can. I'm everybody go stream the song, because she is she's an incredible human, for one thing. She's just such a cool person, and she's so sincere, and she has worked her freaking ass off for this. So I just so badly want this song to do good. So I actually was just right before we got on, I was making a reel that I was making to the song. And so the premise of the song, it sounds like, what the hell, stripper? But the premise of the song is basically we work really, really hard, and still it feels like we have no money. And so it's kind of daydreaming, what would it be like to just be a stripper for a week and to just get all the money in and pay off some shit? And, that's the whole premise. So it's not actually about being a stripper necessarily, but it's about, just kind of the daydreaming of that idea of, what if I just did this just for a week, got some money, and then went back to regular life. So, but it's just really fun. It's very catchy. It's very fun. And so, yeah. So I'm excited. So I just wanted to say it.
Yeah, I'm going to listen. Congrats. I'm going to listen to that, and then I need to share it up.
Yeah,
and,
ma'am.
So is she going to go on tour with Toby Keith? Was that what was happening? Or
no,
it was just
so it was his record label. So it wasn't, necessarily with him specifically, but it was with his label that he owned, I guess. But she was just about to go out on a radio tour promoting the single off of that album that she made when she was with that label. And right when he got diagnosed with cancer and then all this shit happened, they were like, everything just came to a
Oh, just
screeching halt. And
everything.
like they
Yeah.
pulled, so like I think it came down to money, partly like he's, paying for his, treatment and this and that. And so it was like, we don't have the money to send you and whoever out on this tour, radio tour. It's just a radio tour where they go to like radio stations and do like morning shows and all that when you know.
Oh, I see.
Um
Okay.
so there she was on her way to go promote this new album and her new single on the radio tour, and when it all happened. And
Oh.
yeah, like literally I don't know the specifics, or I don't recall the specifics, but I think it was like they were literally just about to go, like within days of
Yeah.
starting the radio
Oh,
tour, and everything
man.
happened, and they had to, I don't know if it was that it was right when he got diagnosed, but maybe it was like right after he got diagnosed, and so they saw that he wasn't doing great and they just pulled everything. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure the specific, like I said, go like, I don't know if she has it on her website or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, and follow her on the socials. She's like, she cracks me up on the socials. She's so real, and she's
Yeah.
so like, just, I don't know. She just like the way she just says things. Like she's just very cool. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
I just
excited
want
to
her to do
listen.
good. Yeah, go check it
Yeah.
out. So,
And then so this is a single, but she has an album coming out, or like,
yes. So the
okay.
whole album
Yeah.
is done.
Okay.
And it is set, I believe it's supposed to come out maybe sometime this spring. But she actually
Okay.
just made a post yesterday in preparation for this song to come out today. And basically what she said in that post was like, she's like, I have a whole album. It's done. She's like, but the fact of the matter is this is a business. And if the numbers aren't numbering, will
Oh.
this album see the light of day? I don't know. So we just really, really, really want this song to do well. That way
Okay.
they go forward with the rest of her stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm excited to listen to it.
Yeah.
So I just remembered something that I was going to talk about. So I have been on the struggle bus with breaking a habit. Like we always talk about like helping people. Oh, so this actually, I have a question for you, but this. Oh, before I get into that, are we doing?
God, all over.
This is my brain right now. Oh my god. Are we doing anonymous questions on this one, or like we're
I
separate?
I only have one.
Okay.
So,
I have a few. I have a few.
Oh,
but
do
we
you?
can we should maybe
Yeah,
wait.
I was gonna. Yeah, I figured we'll do a separate because
Okay.
I'm not prepared with them.
No, me either. That's why I was
And so
confirming.
yeah, we'll wait. But y'all
Okay.
make sure I'll post it again. I keep putting it in the stories on the UBob Instagram page, but we are looking for anonymous questions for us specifically, like individually us, like not us as a podcast, but us individually. So what is something you wondered about Sophia? Like maybe it's, something personal. Maybe it's like her thoughts on some type of a fitness thing. I don't know. Maybe it's about her animals or her childhood or literally anything. And
Yep.
same with me. And if you have questions for Sophia, send them to me. And if you have questions for me, send them to her on Instagram. And then we are going to read them, and they will remain anonymous. We're not going to tell each other who sent what. So
Yes. Okay. So just wanted to clarify that. But
yeah,
that's good that we brought that up. So I was thinking about this because like we're in the business of helping people to create habits and break habits, essentially. And I just was thinking about it. I have been struggling in the evening time because I doom scroll, and I know that about myself. That's why like I don't go on social media until like afternoon or before that. Like if I have to, I'm very aware of that. But it's like in the evening time, once I start, it's like I cannot stop. And not only that, but I'll watch a TV or I'll watch a show for a bit, and it's like I can't get myself to go to bed. I've been going to bed at like 11 o'clock, and I want to go to bed at like 8 or 9, maybe like 9 to 10 even. Because what I used to do, I used to not even have a TV. And so my routine was I'd eat dinner, I'd take a bath, I would not be on my phone, I would do some meditation, I would journal at night. I just had a really good
that sounds
thing
amazing.
going. Yes. And it was, and I slept better. I felt good when I woke up. So now I'm more tired when I wake up, and I'm going to bed later than I want. And my eyes are tired because I'm looking at my phone or the TV. And just to be like super real, we as coaches and trainers also have things that
For sure.
are Like, I tell people or I encourage people, we'll talk through a nighttime routine or a morning time routine or different things to help them with their quality of sleep. But, like, I am struggling with that.
Mhm.
And so there's always things that we as coaches and trainers are struggling with.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
yeah, that's just one thing that's like a big thing that I've been trying to I don't know, it's like I know what to do,
Yeah.
but I'm struggling to do it.
Is it like, is it specifically, like, TikTok or Instagram, or
I
does
would
it
say all of
matter?
it. It's all of it.
Can you I don't know, I've heard, I don't know how to do it, but is there I think that there's, like, a way you can have that shit blocked at a certain time of day, like, on your phone, a
Well,
setting.
there's like a screen time thing, but you can have the option to
Tell it no.
ignore it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
okay.
I think that's what, yeah. But there's not a way to block it to where I can't get into it, I don't think,
Yeah,
from my understanding of that.
probably not.
Yeah.
Damn.
And the thing is too is that I think because me and Kiana have gotten into a routine, which I love. Like whenever, so she's not even here during the weekdays. She's working overnights
Mhm.
in a different city, and so she's gone during the week. And before that, our routine was I would come home from my last client. I would have, we would eat dinner and we would watch a show and just hang out.
Yeah.
And like I love that routine, but she's the one to get us to bed early because she has to wake up earlier, so she
Mm.
shuts it off. And because of that, and because of us being in the routine of watching something, I've just kept up with that. Like I've come to enjoy eating my dinner while watching something, which I
Yeah.
know isn't the best or the
Yeah.
healthiest, but like I've just kind of come to enjoy that. But it's
Yeah.
just I can't get myself to just stop and to just go take a bath. Like I
Mm.
would love to just take a bath,
Right.
read, go to bed. So I have been reading at night after for like a little bit, but yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm like
Uh,
really trying to work through this and
yeah.
just
I
do it.
I find that the bedtime routines are the hardest for me. I can coach people on it because I know all of the supposed to do's,
Yes.
but getting myself to do the supposed to do's, like that's another thing. Like of all the routines, like I can figure out the workout, I can figure out the nutrition, all the routines, the bedtime one is the one I struggle with the most. Always
That's where I'm
have.
at. So
Mhm.
what do you do? Like do you
It
scroll
ain't
or do you
it ain't
just
good. Yeah, I tend to. So for me, I think it's funny because in one of my group chats, myself and two friends in a group chat, and just not that long ago, like in the last week or two, we were talking about, or actually, my one friend was talking about how because she was sending us videos that she wanted us to watch or like reels or something. And she was like, I've been working on putting my phone down. And so what she does is she literally just puts it in another room. So she's like, it's just not out of sight, out of mind. And so she just literally takes it when it hits a certain time of the day because she's working on like being present with her family. So she just takes it and puts it on do not disturb so she's not getting like watch alerts, and then just puts it in her bedroom, and she goes back out to the living room with the family and it's just not there. And so she was talking about that and she's like, yes, I realize I'm literally texting you, talking to you about how I want to put my phone down. And like I get the irony of that. And I said, well, I was like, for me, she was talking about the doom scrolling and just like the dopamine hit that we get, which is why most people do it. All three of us were just kind of talking about why we do it and how it makes us feel and all that. And I said, for me, I think that for me, it's less about doom scrolling and I am more a victim of hustle culture because I really don't doom scroll that much. What I'm always doing is working. I am on there.
Oh, I do
I'm
that
getting
too.
ideas for reels that I might want to make. And then, like, or something will trigger something. And then I immediately switch over to the edits app and I start editing video and that's my thing. And
I'll
so,
do that too a little bit.
yeah, what I catch myself doing is, this is bad because my husband gets up early with my son. They get up at the same time and they leave. He takes my son to school and he goes to work. I'm here. I'm already at work. And so, depending on the day of the week, I might sleep in a little later on one day than another, depending on if I'm with clients late into the evening or in the morning. And so, if it's one of my more sleep in days, then especially, I mean, honestly, it's kind of bled into every day, but it started as just if it's the night before a day where I'm going to get to sleep in anyway, I'm literally laying in bed, lights are off, everything's off. My phone brightness is turned all the way down, and I'm sitting there editing video. And and I even
No wonder
just
you crank out so much content.
maybe that's it. I'm doing it all night long. And
Yeah.
like just last night, in fact, I had an idea for one and I wanted to get it scheduled. And so I'm literally listening to audio. Like I have it turned all the way down and I have it up to my ears. So that, cause my husband's right next to me sleeping. And so I'm like trying to make sure that, I'm not
Oh
waking
my
him
God.
listening to, it's bad. And that was kind of a realization moment. Actually, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I could have easily just left this video as it was. And in the morning, figured out the audio. Nothing is going to happen. Like it wasn't even something I wanted to post the next day. But for me, that's where it's less about doom
Mm,
scrolling and more about, like I said, I feel like I'm just like a victim of hustle culture. And it's like, if you're not being
yeah.
productive, then you're not, you know what I mean? And
Yes.
that's something I've got to break. I'm very aware of it and I try hardish sometimes.
I've done
I'm
that
not
too.
good
I'll
at.
catch myself like, or yeah, I'll be trying to find ideas, and I'll keep telling myself like I'm just trying to find ideas, and it's true because sometimes I'm like, okay, if I wasn't on my phone scrolling, I wouldn't
Hmm.
have found this idea for
Right.
a post.
Hmm.
One thing that I also notice is that I just feel like shit. It's not even about like the sleepiness and tiredness, like that's one
Hmm.
aspect, but another aspect is just I just feel icky internally and just all of the
Just not
things.
well rested. Your
Yeah.
nervous system never really got to
Yeah, and
break.
comparison, I'm always, like, subconsciously comparing myself then at that point too and
Yeah.
all of that, and, but yeah, that's a good point. I didn't know that you did that. I didn't know that that was a
Yeah.
thing
It's
for
not
you.
good. Yeah. It's a problem.
We should
It's a
both work
problem.
on this.
Yeah. I have actually talked to my therapist about this a lot because right after I was diagnosed with cancer, I just just it messed with your brain, whatever. And I wanted to I did not want to be on my phone. I didn't want to be on social media. I didn't want to see things that were going to make me feel any kind of way. And I actually was very good at just taking my phone and putting it in my bedroom. And and it was one of the things that, well, no, it wasn't her because I started talking to her after, but it might have been my friend that I was talking about who puts her phone in the other room. I set my alarm and I do anything that I need to do on it because that ends up being an excuse too, where it's like, just put your phone down and don't touch it. And it's like, oh, but I have to set my
Yes.
alarm. I have to, like, we make all these excuses. So
Mhm.
she's like, do everything first. Like, do all of it, at 6 o'clock in the evening. Like, set your alarm, set everything. And then when it comes time for her, 7 o'clock is her cutoff. And I was I was using 7 o'clock too, but I actually found at the time just because of everything happening in life, it was easier. I didn't really need to give myself a cutoff. I just didn't want my phone. And so when I was done, I would set my alarm, everything, so I didn't have to look at it until the next day. And I took it into the bedroom. I plugged it into the charger and I put it face down on my nightstand because it's my alarm clock. And I would come out, and the trick for me was having something else to do. And that's when I was doing puzzles, like jigsaw puzzles, like a wild
Oh,
woman. And
yes.
so it was still, and I think a lot of it's like tactile for me. Like it's like, when you're scrolling or I'm editing video, I'm just always doing stuff, but the puzzle kind of served that purpose for me without a screen. And so I
Yeah.
was really good at it at the time. And then as I started coming out at the end of treatment, I was starting, feel better about things. And I was eager to get back because I wasn't making much content. I was only posting a couple of days a week, and a lot of it was old stuff that I was just reposting. And I was just kind of eager to like feel like a normal person again. And then apparently a normal person means you're on your phone all night editing video, which is not good.
Yeah.
So and I know, like, I'm just like, I've done it before. I know
Yeah.
what works for
Yeah,
me.
same.
I just can't quite get myself
Mhm.
to do it.
It's hard. So,
Hmm.
yeah, and I think I like the idea of just putting my phone somewhere else. Like,
Hmm.
that's what it has it just has to be in a different room,
Hmm.
even though, like, even if I'm texting Kiana, like, I just maybe need to be like, "I'm gonna have my phone over here for a little bit." Like, I just need it to be because if it's out of sight, out of mind with my phone, I think that
Hmm.
will help a lot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, if it's right there, I just keep picking it up, and I just gotta I think my first step is I just gotta not go on the social medias,
Hmm.
like, at
Yeah.
all.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. I'll keep everyone updated on this
Yeah.
little because this is something like even talking about it, the awareness is there, but
Yeah.
talking about it helps me to put it out into
Yeah.
the universe of. And I've talked to Kiana about it. She keeps texting me at a certain time at night. She's like, "Go to bed, like
Yeah.
just don't." And also, she mentioned she's like, "Should I just take the remotes?" Because a problem is if I can't
Oh.
get myself to turn the the show off. So I might honestly have her take the remotes so I can't turn the TV on at all. And then I just have to focus on my phone and not going on that.
Yeah. And
So
I
I think
mean,
I'm
you
gonna try
used to
that.
not have a TV anyway, so it's not like
Yeah,
that's a big
it's not a
deal.
problem. Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I enjoyed it. I
That's a
really
thought.
liked not having a TV. Yeah.
Yeah. That's an
So
interesting thought. Well, honestly, we should make a deal. We should like hold each other to some kind of accountability for this
yes, let's do
because
it.
obviously this is an issue we both have.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure we are not the only ones. You bobbers are probably sitting in their car driving to work right now going,
Yep,
me
same.
too.
Yep.
So yeah, so maybe this is something we can kind of update each other on and
Let's do
see.
it. Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Okay. I'm gonna have Kiana
Yeah.
take the remotes. That's my first step. Okay, speaking of Kiana, so she listened to our Smash or Pass episode and which she enjoyed, but she's like, you guys should have done like better topics, like hot takes. And I was like, okay, like we should maybe do one where it's like hot take type of
we
Smash or
could.
Pass.
Yeah. I guess I didn't think about hot takes. I did think about like things that would just generally be funny, but like all of the things that I was coming up with, even after like when I was struggling to come up with things, I'm like, let me go see what ChatGPT has. And like everything was stuff where it's like just dumb and it's all going to be pass, of course. You know what I mean? Just like it's funny and ridiculous. It's not like the would you rathers where like you had to pick between two terrible options. And I was like, these are all not even going to be good. I was like, let's just do like legitimate, things that are out there. But I hadn't thought of hot takes. That's a good idea.
Yeah, we could do some hot takes. I think what we did was good because it created some, conversation. But hot takes would be maybe
that would be a good one. We could do that.
And I have one. I have one in my head.
Ooh, you already have one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But all right, so that's my bullshit. Kiana has her so when time of recording this, the strongman competition is tomorrow.
Oh shit!
So the next recording, we'll update people on that. But it'll be her first one. She just wants to get in the door, just like complete it, see how it get a feel for it, and then hopefully she'll continue. Which I think that she will. She will do really good with strongman. Yeah. So
exciting. That's awesome. And for me, by the time this episode comes out, I will have already competed. My Arnold will be done and over with. So when this episode comes out, that will be the day I'm actually driving home from. From Columbus. So
how's training? Any updates with like the injury or?
Yeah. So the last time we recorded, I was supposed to squat again, I think in a day or two after that. And I did. And it was so I tried I tried doing the whole workout, at least the squat portion of the workout with high bar, and it was okay. It was fine. I'm not as strong at high bar, I'm fully aware, but I didn't realize how big of a difference there was because even my warm-ups were pretty tough. And I was only going to 200 and I failed it 3 times. And that is literally just a warm-up step for me typically. And so that kind of really got in my head. And I'm like, okay, like, let me just see. Cause I was kind of afraid to try low bar because I was afraid to tweak the shoulder again. And so I was like, let me just try. Like, so we took it all the way back down to 145. So it's just with plate 45s on the bar. And I was like, okay, like I can kind of feel it, but it's not so bad. So then we went to 165, then we went to 185, and it was the same thing. Like I was feeling it. One of the things that I noticed was if I would re-rack it, like normally I slam the bar into the rack. Like that's just what I do. Like when I'm finished with a set, I just walk straight into the rack and I just drop it. Cause usually it's like heavy freaking weight. I want to get it off of me. But I noticed that jarring of like hitting it in the rack was part of what was making it feel some kind of way. So then like the next time, like I just played it in real gentle. And cause we recorded every single one of these sets so that I could see if like things were weird. And that video was funny. And then I was like, but I'm still feeling it. And my husband goes, this is weird. He's like, but what if you take your right hand off of the bar first? Because we noticed, because we recorded every set, we noticed the left side is the one that's bothering me. And every single set, just, I guess it's just what I do. And I never noticed that I do it, is as soon as I unrack it, I always let go with the left hand first. And then I go and let go with the right. And I'm like,
Oh, interesting.
I was like, maybe what if I switch it? And what if I let go with the right hand first and did that? So we tried that, and honestly didn't seem to make much of a difference, but it was an interesting
it's a good observation,
theory.
Sam. Holy
yeah,
cow. Yeah.
right. And so so all that to say, like, all of those types of little weird things we kept trying and tweaking, and it still wasn't great, but it wasn't as bad. I was able to at least do it, but before that 195, I couldn't even, like, I would unrack it and then I'd have to put it right back in. Like, I couldn't even think about backing out with that on my back because it would hurt so bad. So I did. And I worked my way back up to the 200, and I did it without a problem. And I did it without a problem after all of everything else I'd already done. And, I should have been fatigued by then, and I was still able to do it. I'm like, okay, so that at least mentally it proves I can do this. So I think I just have to, my coach gave me some warm-ups, like shoulder things to do, like just to like release like all these muscles and shit back in here. And so I've just been trying to keep up with that. And we'll see. I squat again tomorrow.
So you still don't know if you're going to do high or low bar?
I think it's going to just depend on the day. I think when we get there, I'm going to have to see how it feels.
Yeah.
Low bar preferred for sure. So as long as it feels okay doing low bar, when I do my workout tomorrow, I am not even going to mess with high bar. I'm just going to go right at low bar and see how it feels. My hope is that because I've been resting it and I've been doing mobility and things, my hope is that it, it's kind of working its way out, and we'll see.
How long are your workouts usually? I'm curious.
So, how long should my workouts be, or how long are my workouts? Because when you have a home gym, my workouts legitimately can sometimes go 3+ hours because I'm not actually doing my workout the whole time. Like, you have a rest break, and then it's like, let me go feed the dog. Let me go do this. Let me put the groceries away. Oh, let me throw in a load of laundry. You know what I mean? And it's like, next thing I know, like 3 hours later, and that's stupid. Honestly, it's fucking stupid. And I need to be better about, like, just get it done and focus on the workout. Yeah. So one of the things
go ahead.
One of the things my coach did for me, because this has been an issue, is I work out 4 days a week, and he switched it to 2 days are at the commercial gym and 2 days are at my home gym. So that way, because when I'm at the gym, I'm way more focused. I'm getting my workouts done faster. I'm getting a better workout because I'm back to back to back rather than resting, sometimes 15, 20 minutes, depending on what I decide to go do, because my brain, And so when I am at the gym, those get done in less than an hour and a half, between an hour and an hour and a half. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've noticed that being in my suite when I work out, like, if I have to get it done, so what I'm noticing is that I find that I'm just like, I want to record. Like, I'll record doing a set just to get video.
Just for B-roll content.
Exactly, yes.
Yep.
Or like if I'm like, okay, I want to record this for like a tip or like something, B-roll just to capture things. But it takes time. I get my thing out, I light, I set it up, I look at it. My workouts do take longer when I'm in suite versus when I go to the gym.
Yep.
And that is because I'm not going to video. I don't really video when I'm at the gym. So yeah.
I'll set my phone up sometimes, partly just because I do have to send my coach video. So sometimes I still record from the gym, but it's always like a shitty angle, like on the floor, leaning on my water bottle. It's like not really video that I may not necessarily use. Some of it I do. And that actually is a thing too my coach and I talked about. And he's like, all right, what you need to do is just kind of like, almost like time block. He's like, you have this, like, say 90 minutes, you get your workout done, no camera, and then give yourself 30 minutes to recreate whatever it is you wanted to film.
Oh, that's a good idea.
He's like, so rather than making your workout take 2 or 2.5 hours, get your workout done in an hour and a half, and then take 30 or 60 minutes to then record whatever you wanted to record after.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Do I do it? No. Yep. But it's a good idea.
Do I do it? No.
Because in my head, it makes sense to like.
But it's hard when it's on the fly.
Yeah.
But when it's on the fly, you're like, oh no, I just gotta record this quick.
Like, let me just throw my camera. Like, I'm gonna do this set anyway. Let me just record it. Yeah.
Yes.
I have this one curl. Do you see this thing? Like, it keeps distracting me. It's like
now I see it.
I didn't notice it. Little curl.
I didn't notice it till now, but I do now. I see it.
Yeah, you're like, oh, look at when I turn, you can really see it. In the,
Now I can't unsee it.
God, and it's like, look how short it is, but then when
It
I
is.
stretch it, look how long it is.
Oh my
Actually,
God.
like if my hair were straight, it'd be all the way down there. But boing.
Boing, boing.
Sorry, I'm so distracted. But now I like pulled it, so now it's even. Now everyone's distracted.
That's
by
the only thing.
Hello, YouTube.
gonna
Are
look
you
at.
all distracted by my curl now?
Yes.
Tuck it in there. Anyway, it's fine. I'll try to ignore it.
Okay.
All right. Are we ready to talk about
We're ready.
this episode?
Quote and shirt.
Oh shit! Quote and shirt. That's why we pay you the big bucks. That's what I keep telling you. Okay, what's your quote?
Okay, so I'm excited to talk about to bring up my quote that I'm going to do on my next one because I found a podcast episode that I'll talk about next time, but I changed the quote. So this is the quote that I changed it to, but I'm just really excited to talk about this other quote that I found on the podcast. I just had to throw it out there. All right. This quote reached my soul. I put this on my Instagram story even, but it like hit home for me to my core. Maybe in order to love who you are, you cannot hate the experiences that shaped you. Because I have thought so many. I'm going to therapy for a lot of different things, but it's like I really have a lot of like guilt and hate towards myself for different experiences and things that I have done or said. And so when I read that, I'm like, oof. I can't hate because they shaped me, like who I am and how I am now and how I approach things now and approach people. True. And yeah. So
God, I think just as empathetic people, I think we have a tendency to we've talked about this before where you like replay something that happened or
oh my God, it's bad. It's bad.
It's real bad. And I think that we have like such a tendency to do that, and then you start beating yourself up because what could I have said or done differently, or why did I do that, or why did I say that, or why did I react that way? And and then it creates like this negative type of a loop for yourself.
Yeah, it's a spiral. So actually, I'll just say this now. This made me think about the podcast I was just listening to. So it's called Big Deal by Cody Sanchez. I just stumbled upon it. I'm trying to improve like communication and how I talk, the way that I talk. And so I found this podcast just like popped up, started listening to it. She's amazing. Highly recommend. But she had Gabrielle Bernstein on, who, if you don't know who that is, she's more in like the spiritual world. And she wrote the book, The Universe Has Your Back. And she has another book coming out, but she also ties in like science with it. But anyways, she was talking about when you're in this spiral, you are replaying a scenario or something is just bringing you pain mentally, emotionally. I don't remember exactly how she worded it, but you take this thing and you kind of like ball it up. For example, her son was going through something. She had him basically mentally ball it up and throw it in their pool. So it's like throwing it in the pool or throwing it. And it was asking him is there another thought that you can bring in to replace that, basically. Yeah, don't quote me on that. I don't know, but I liked what resonated for me to take it, bundle it up, throw it in the fire because it's not serving me, So that really stuck with me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I think like that's just a thing we do. Like I just people like people empathetic, and I think I see it a lot like in almost like service-based people, like people who find fulfillment in serving other people, which I mean, our chosen career is what we do. But I feel like it's one of those like traits of people like that, where we just have that really bad tendency to do that. And then it creates this so much negativity around it. And you're beating yourself up and you're mad and whatever, coming back to your quote of like, that's not good. We shouldn't do that. Yes. We can't do that. We can't do that because you're right. Like all of that stuff, good, bad, or otherwise, has gotten us to where we are and made us who we are. And yeah, that's exactly cool. That's a good one. Well, far less introspective is my shirt. I believe I've worn this one already, but in case people haven't seen it, it is feminism is my second favorite F word.
Love it.
Which is one of I enjoy wearing this shirt, and I'm like over here in a cutoff shirt because the weather's finally getting warmer. It's honestly not quite this warm yet, but in my house it's not so bad. But we have been in like last week we were in the 70s. We're only in the 60s right now. It went down like over the weekend. It went down to like the 30s. for the high, and then it has been creeping back up, and we're back up in the 60s today. And I was looking at the 10-day forecast. Most of it is in the 70s. So
Nice.
spring finally. I noticed the neighbors have like the little daffodils are blooming. I'm like, yes,
It's
bitches.
coming.
This is
It's
what I'm talking
coming.
about.
So close. So close.
All right. So let's get into this because it's like
Let's
we're
do
at
it.
minute 36 already. So today we're going to talk about several things kind of balled up into one type of topic. We're going to talk about marketing for one thing, specifically workouts is what we're referring to, how different companies and things use marketing, and what do all these marketing words mean, like tone specifically. And with what they're marketing, a lot of times they're marketing like lightweight, high rep stuff. And so people get very confused because they hear people say, no, lift heavy with low reps, and then you hear no, lift, the opposite. And so what does the science actually say, and what is it when you're thinking about your own specific goals with your workouts? I guess what should you be looking for based on your goals? Where this came from was a carousel post that I made, a carousel post or swipe post. I've been saying the phrase carousel post because that's just what they're called, but I've noticed when I'm around other people that aren't like social media content people, they're like, what is that? Like, it's
That's so funny.
the swipe kind, the kind of post that you swipe. It's like a carousel of photos.
Yeah,
That's why it's
I've
called a
had that
carousel.
happen.
But I made one a few weeks ago, and it was basically about why women are kind of taught to fear getting bulky. You hear women say like, oh, I don't want to get bulky. I just want to tone up. I don't want to get bulky. And, like, it's funny to like people like us because we're like, listen, I've been trying to get bulky for years and it ain't working. Like, we don't have to be worried about that. So since we know that's not an actual thing, and science tells us it's not an actual thing, why is it still like a pervasive concern? And so the gist of the post, no one will be surprised as I literally sit here wearing a shirt that says feminism is my second favorite F word, was based on how patriarchal society as a whole, not necessarily the patriarchy, but just we live in a patriarchal society. We just do. And a lot of it comes down to wanting to make sure that women continue to do what a patriarchal society needs women to do: cook, clean, have babies, right? So if they go and get strong, which then impacts you mentally and your confidence and your autonomy and your self-efficacy and how you can realize that maybe you don't need a man to do something, then that creates an issue for a society that depends on women to do the things they want women to do, right? So I want to get into that too much, but there was a slide on that post, and I'll just read it here. It just talks about how fitness and beauty marketing reinforced all of that stuff. It says women were sold, quote, long, lean muscles, toning instead of training, and light weights and high reps. Heavier lifting was framed as unfeminine or dangerous, and that messaging shaped fear, not facts, because none of that is based in any kind of science. And the reason I read this particular slide is because this one out of it is a 16 slide. There were 16 slides in it. This one slide was shared repeatedly in people's stories, and they would add little notes and things on them. And at least 3 or 4 times I saw someone that commented on how when they were a coach with Les Mills, who does the body pump program, that this is exactly what they were told to tell women. And they were saying, we knew that wasn't true. It wasn't factual. It's not what the science says, but this is what the company told us we had to sell. And so basically they're using this type of language that is appealing to women who have been kind of, I don't want to say brainwashed because that sounds bad, but I mean, I don't know what else to call it. But we've been raised in this society that tells us that we, don't get bulky. You want to, long and long, lean muscle, all that kind of stuff. It's not real. And then marketing doubled down on it and push that narrative even more just to sell programs. And so, yeah.
The other thing that this made me think of, because I've actually kind of seen it circulate a little bit, is the fact that the same industries and marketing market that women and men should train differently. Like that's essentially what that is
Yes.
showing and saying
Yes.
inherently, even though even if it's said or not said because of the marketing,
Mhm.
that is what we're sold and told, is that
Yes.
we need to train differently than men, when
Yep.
that is not the case.
That is not the
Everyone
case.
trains the same. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the same thing. And so, we wanted to get into kind of what this marketing is trying to it's trying to appeal to women who, we're creating this fear around getting bulky, like it's such a terrible, bad, awful thing. And so instead create long, lean muscles, and like that you that's not a thing. Like long people say like I want long muscle. Well, that's heredity. That long is like how is your muscle attached to your bone? And so, it's anatomical and it's heredity, it's like, if you look at your
Heredity or hereditary? Isn't it
hereditary.
hereditary? Heredity? It could be both. It could be either.
But yeah, like so I think they're the same root. They're two words of the same root.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's based on like if you look at your ancestors, your mom, your grandparents, that it's like your eye color. It gets passed down. And so that's the long thing. Like you can't make your muscles long or not long. It just
It just is what
it,
your anatomy is.
yeah,
Body, like
there's
what your body is.
doesn't matter how many reps, how much weight. Pilates isn't going to do it either, because that's another thing that's been going around a lot. Is Pilates will give you the long, lean muscle. No, it doesn't. Like your mama gave you that or not, And then the lean part kills me when it's like lean muscle. Literally, that's what muscle is lean mass.
It's
The
just
end.
muscle. Yeah.
Like that. It
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Yes.
All muscle is lean. So when we say
Yes.
long, lean, what? No, that's what muscle is lean body mass.
That's what it is. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter if it's, if you have a lot of it or a little bit of it, everyone's muscle is lean.
What matters is if you can see it and how much body fat you have.
Mhm.
Like that's where the lean or like the
tone.
the toning, seeing
Yeah.
it comes into play, is if you can see that muscle and how big that
Yes.
muscle, I guess, is too. But
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
So like people say, I just want to tone up. I don't want to get bulky. And so they think that bulky means heavy weights. And so then they avoid heavy weights because they think that they're only toning. But like you just said, toning is having muscle and a low enough body fat to see the muscle.
And you have to lift weights. You have to lift heavy
Yes.
in order to get to that point, or eventually lift heavier
Yeah,
to get
build
to that
up
point.
heavy for you, whatever's
Yeah.
heavy. And that's, I think, another thing too. People think I don't lift heavy. I'm like, well, when you picked that up, was it heavy for you? Then you lifted heavy. It's a
Yeah.
very subjective thing. What's heavy to me might not be heavy to someone else, and vice versa. But it doesn't mean we're not both lifting heavy.
Yes.
So I think that when we use that word tone, or when we hear people say the word tone, they really want to think what exactly do I want? And so actually Sophia asked me when you bobbers, I'm talking to you, not her now. When we were getting ready for this episode, Sophia was like, what is the actual definition of toning? Like, is there a real definition for it? I'm like, that's a hell of a question. So I pulled it up real quick, and it just said, literally, this is from Wikipedia. I know, a very reputable source, but Wikipedia says the term toned implies leanness. This is low levels of body fat and noticeable muscle definition and shape, but not significant muscle size or, quote, bulk. And the thing is, as women, we just don't. First of all, we're starting at a much lower base of muscle. So for us to build enough muscle to look bulky is really freaking hard.
Really hard. Yeah.
Obnoxiously hard.
Yeah.
And
we just don't have because I think a lot of people also associate it with maybe men and how they look, but also like bodybuilders and them putting on muscle. There's a lot of people out there that do it naturally, yes, but a lot of people take things for it. And then also they eat a boatload of food.
Yes.
Like you have to eat a shit ton in order to get to that point. They have to. And then they cut, but yes.
Yeah. And then a long time too.
Yeah.
You know, like, no one's gonna wake up tomorrow and suddenly be jacked. I wish that were the case. But,
Yes.
I think 2 things that I try to tell people a lot. Number 1 is if you wanna be toned, you need to lift like you wanna bulk because that's the only way you're gonna make
That's
enough
true,
muscle
yes.
to see and feel toned. And then number 2 is the beauty of all of this is that you can always change it. If you decide you wanna go into a little bit of a surplus to eat a little more so that you can build some more muscle, and you notice that maybe you don't love the way your arms are shaping out or your shoulders, which that's probably never gonna happen. You're gonna freaking love it. But you can
Mhm.
always back off, you can always cut down how many sets that you do on that particular body part so that that muscle doesn't develop as much if that's the look you want, you know what I mean? It's very you can change it all the time, and I think that people assume that, as soon as you start lifting, like, your whole body is gonna you're just gonna suddenly become a bodybuilder. And man, that just completely undermines the amount of effort and work that bodybuilders put into making themselves look like that.
Yes, for real. That's 100% true.
Mm,
Yeah, so it's like but then, so, like, this came to me then, it's like, if someone's listening, because I have had clients, like, tell me that same thing, and it's
uh-huh.
like, how do you help someone get out of that mindset then? Even if we say, "Well, you have to lift
Mhm.
heavy in order to get to that." What if they've done that before and they saw themselves as being bulky then? Which that may be, like, body image perception,
Yes.
but yeah.
Yeah, that actually I'm glad you said that because that was something that I'm gonna bring up and I forgot. Everyone has a different definition of what is bulky, like, there was someone on that post who basically was calling me a liar and saying that they've seen way too many women on social media who are bulky to believe that what I'm saying is true. And I was like, "Okay, but," and what she, because she was saying that she will never do heavy leg press. It was on a leg press. It was not on this one. It was on a leg press post. She's like, "I would never do heavy leg presses because I don't want bulky muscles." And I was like, "Okay, but that's not how muscle building works. Like, that is not how the science of it works." And then she told me I'm a liar. And then she proceeded to, like, brag about how everyone tells her how she has bird legs and she loves it. And I'm like, "Okay, so here's where it is. It's her perception of
Yeah.
bulky is probably most of the rest of our perception of normal." You know what I mean?
Mm,
And so, like, to
yes.
her, having bird legs was like the goal. That was what she wanted. And so I'm like, okay, a lot of this comes down to just our own individual definitions of what is bulky, what is not, what is toned, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think
Yep.
that creates maybe a lot of confusion in the mix of all of the confusion of what's science based and what's not is the fact that I think a lot of us just have different definitions of that terminology. You know what I mean?
Mhm. I mean, I'm
Um,
thinking of, I have a friend who she was trying to tone down is, like, what she kind of phrased it as, and, she's always actually, like, when we've had a conversation, we've talked about this, and she's mentioned how she feels like when she starts lifting and lifting heavy, she can tell that she gets bulkier and puts on muscle easily and quickly, like, in her upper body, like shoulders, and she doesn't like that.
okay.
So that I don't know where I was going with that, but that's just I think just that was just an example too that I was thinking of was that aspect, and so,
Yeah.
I think some of it too is the way that she sees her body is totally different than how I see
Hmm.
her body or how other people sees her body, and I tried
Yeah.
talking like, telling her that too, talking to her about that, but
Yeah. I
yeah.
think I see that a lot in Facebook groups. Like, I came across when I grabbed a screenshot of the post just for my own information, just because that kind of stuff is what helps me come up with posts that I'm going to make on Instagram. But
Oh,
she
yeah.
posted a picture of herself where someone had taken one. She was just, like, sitting on the floor kinda looking off this way, and the camera was, like, from up here, kinda down at an angle, and she's like, "What can I do to make my arms not look so big?" And this picture was, like, there was nothing big about her arm. Like, you couldn't it was almost no shape at all. Like, I couldn't see muscle. I didn't see she seemed like she was, like, at a normal body weight. She seemed like she was in a relaxed position, and it's not even like it was pushed against something that made it, like, squish out and make it look big. Like, literally nothing about it looked big, and the comments were like, "Are the big arms in the room with us?" And, things like that. But it was like, again, it's just that perception. I think we
Yeah.
have this, we're our own worst critics, and
Mhm.
we have this vision in our head of what we want, and if we don't look like that vision, then we just start picking ourselves apart a little bit, I think,
Yeah. Yep.
I like it's one of the things that I used to do, and I don't do it anymore, but I would have people show me examples of what is your ideal body. Like, if you could make your
Oh,
body
that's a
look
good
like
idea.
anything, what would you like it to look like? Because then that gives some frame of reference around what do they interpret as, lean, not lean, bulky, muscly, whatever.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, but I kind of stopped doing it because I know I sort of struggled, and maybe now that I have more experience and I can have those conversations better now than I did back then. But people would choose very unrealistic body types, like,
Oh.
things where it's like, you're a very tall person, so you're not going to look like that 5 foot jacked girl. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's different. Muscle sits on us differently, and it's so. And I struggled with having those conversations with helping to get them to realize that maybe that specific look isn't very realistic for them, just because, again, heredity. Like
that's a good point. Yeah.
it just is. And so that's why I stopped doing it, because I kind of struggled with that.
Mm.
But it
Mhm.
does at least give you a decent idea of, like, kind of their mindset and where they are with things. And
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
that
but
makes sense.
so that Les Mills company that I mentioned earlier, that all those people were sharing that post and talking about how Les Mills would have them tell women this stuff. I Googled it real quick. It says on here. So this is specific to Body Pump. I don't know if those people that shared it were doing Body Pump or a different Les Mills program, but Body Pump says the focus is high repetition, low weight, full body resistance workout, which, okay, like, fine. That's what you want. Fine. It does use a barbell, weight plates, and a step. And so that leads people, I feel like, to think, this is going to sound stupid because I realize, but that leads people to think they're lifting. And technically, you're lifting, but are you lifting to the point that's actually going to create an adaptation in your body to affect change?
And, like, build muscle.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
wonder, like, how much weights, like, what are the
I'm not sure. I can see if I can look a little more
I mean,
into
I'm
this.
assuming not a lot because if it's high repetition, they're doing a lot
Mhm.
of reps, so it's probably not
Yes. Yeah,
super
it
heavy.
says high rep, low weight, full body resistance workout. So it's low. But again, low is kind of subjective. I don't know how low. But the goal here is what really, like, cemented it. The goal says to tone muscles and build strength endurance. I don't know a single woman, unless maybe she's like a triathlon person, that intentionally, purposefully wants to go to a class or go to the gym to build strength endurance. Not one.
Yeah, I'll say I've never had anyone be like, "I wanna build strength endurance."
No,
Like,
and I think it's one of those, like, almost like catchphrasey type things that we say because it sounds good, like, from a marketing standpoint. But, like,
yeah.
do people really know what that means? I I doubt it. I think they just think, "Oh, yeah, I wanna build muscle and
And toning, well, they get it with the toning too is, like, the
tone
big
muscle."
thing, and
Mhm.
I feel like that's the
Yeah,
main
yeah. And so this
word.
whole thing implies that if you do high repetition, low weight strength exercises, you're going to get toned muscles. And that's just not necessarily the case. So, just to clarify, the strength endurance thing, endurance would be like you're able to, I mean, I guess it does. It literally does build strength endurance because it's low rep, high weight, or just kidding, low weight, high rep. And that's what endurance is. Like, in order to get to a point where you have lifted enough volume to build any kind of muscle, you are going to have to lift a crap ton of reps at a low
Mhm.
weight to make that happen. And that's where the endurance part comes in. But, like, as a
Yeah.
general rule, people's goal is not necessarily endurance, hardly. And I think people would be surprised to find out that you can actually, how do I say it? You can actually build muscle more effectively and more quickly if you weren't doing such low weight.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing that goes into play here is the belief that like hit workouts and cardio is the way
Mm,
for like weight loss, fat loss, and things like that. And then it's like, oh,
yeah.
I'm also lifting weights, you know? So like the fact that the it's like a cardio piece to it
Yeah.
plays into that,
Yep.
unfortunately.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're so right. So, with all that said, I pulled up we have a few like kind of myths that we want to bust here with this, and I'm going to actually skip ahead to the second one because it kind of goes with this. And the myth is high reps tone, low reps bulk. And then what does the science actually say about that? So well, yeah, this whole day talks about how like the long lean muscle thing is not real. So muscle hypertrophy, that just means building muscle, growing muscle. It effectively happens when you are lifting to a point of close to failure. So, it doesn't necessarily, I'm going to asterisk that because we're going to talk more about that, but it doesn't necessarily matter how many reps you're doing. If you're doing it close to failure, then you're going to create that situation where your body can build muscle,
Hmm.
right?
And I would say I think the big thing too, which we'll probably get to, is but any rep range, like
Hmm.
people hear all the time, like, or maybe not all the time, but there's 1 to 3 reps, or your 1 rep max, or 5 to 6 reps, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 15, 10 to 15, no matter what, like whatever it is, any amount, like you said, any amount of reps or rep range will and can build muscle if done
Yep.
properly. Right.
Yep.
So it's like trying to bust that myth of not just the bulky and the toning,
Hmm.
but also that it'll well, associating it with that, but also the fact that it will build muscle or lose body fat, like, just associating with it at all with any specific rep range, if that makes
Right.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There is no with the knowledge of toning isn't a thing. Let's just like take that off the table. There's no such thing as toning your muscle. You
Get
either
out
build
of your
muscle.
vocabulary.
Yeah. Either you build muscle or you don't build muscle. There is no toning anything. If you want the toned look, then you want to build muscle. And so knowing that at any rep range, theoretically, we can build muscle as long as the weight is enough for that rep range we're getting close to. You don't have to fail every time. We don't want you to fail every time. Actually, don't fail every
Right.
time. That's not safe. But when you're pushing yourself to the point where you're within a couple of reps of potentially failing the lift, that's where you're going to get that adaptation. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter the rep range.
and I think even a better word to use than toning, and maybe people like just reframe it, is the leanness. Like you're for
Yeah.
most of the time when people tell me they want to tone and I ask more
Yeah.
questions, they just want lean and they want muscle
Mhm.
definition and they want it to be
Yeah.
they want to be leaner.
Yeah.
Uh there's something else I was gonna say, but I forgot. Yeah. So, but I just
I that reminded me actually something I was gonna say a little bit ago and I forgot when you were talking about your friend, is I think what happens too, a lot of times people do build muscle, so they have this image in their head of what they want to look, that they want that lean look. And so if they're lifting weights, because that's what people tell them to do, then they do start putting on muscle. However, if they're not losing the body fat, then the muscle is building under the body fat and it might make it look like, oh, my arm got bigger. Well, it got bigger because of
yes.
muscle, which is actually a really good thing because you're shifting your body composition, your body fat percentage, right? You have more lean mass on your body now, even if your body fat hasn't changed. But when it comes to wanting that specific look, they have to make sure that it's tied in with a fat loss phase, or else they
Yep.
are going to just automatically think that building muscle makes them bulky when that's just not the case.
Yes. And also just, like, mentally getting through that phase of, like, okay, you're adding muscle and you might seem a like, to you, you might feel or look bulkier to you because of not losing that body fat
Mhm.
yet, but it's going to make it so much easier, like, you were
Yes.
optimizing yourself to be able to do that, but, like, if mentally it's getting through that phase or that time,
Yeah.
whether it's a few months or more than a few months, whatever
Yeah.
it is, it's mentally
Mm.
working through that.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah,
That's tough.
yeah.
And it's, I think for me now, when I years ago, early on, I would not have seen it this way. But for me now, when I am in that type of a phase and I see that things, even though I don't see the muscle, I can tell like that I'm building. It's all I can think of is I cannot wait for my fat loss phase because we're going to see this muscle and it's going to be badass. And like,
Yes.
that's like my outlook on it now. Like I get excited about it. But yeah, me back then, I might have panicked and freaked
Yeah.
out
Well,
about
and I
that.
think it's like when people don't understand that because they've never been
Hmm.
taught that because
Sure.
people are taught to eat less, move more, and they're not taught it as phases or seasons of the goal is not fat loss right now. We are trying to add muscle in order to have an
Yeah.
optimal fat loss phase. But thinking of
Right.
it in terms of phases and seasons, when I talk to people and tell people that, most of the time they have never heard that concept before of
Really.
going through, oh yeah, like going
Mm,
through phases and seasons. And that's where people go wrong is because they're trying to lose weight, lose body fat all day, every
constantly.
day,
Hmm.
for years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and and that's exactly where all the problems come in. When we talk about women as when we hit perimenopause and menopause, they've spent the last 15 years eating less, moving more. Their metabolism is just completely in the toilet. And so then when the hormone shifts happen, now it's like that much worse where we've set ourselves up for the perfect storm of, building the menopausal weight and things like that that they talk about when it's not really so much that as it is just that we've had lifestyle habits that have
Yep.
created this situation and we have not built
Yep.
muscle. Yeah.
Yep.
When people talk about rep ranges, at least I don't know about you, what I usually hear people talk about, like the most common is usually like 8 to 12. Like 8 to 10, 10 to 12, somewhere in there, they're like, 8 to 12 is like the optimal muscle building rep range. And the idea I think of that came from it's just easy. It's easy to remember, it's an easy kind of a blanket statement and it does work. That will absolutely build muscle. Again, if your weight is heavy enough to get you to the point where you're within getting close to failure. And what I like about ranges, I don't know if we've talked about this before. I think we did, but I always give my people ranges. Like I'll usually give like an 8 to 10 or a 6 to 8 or whatever. And
Yeah.
for progressive overload, right? Like I want you to find the weight where, like, if it's an 8 to 10, I want you to find the weight where where 8 is really difficult. And then I want you to stay at that weight. And then maybe the next week, try to get 9. And then I
Yep.
want you to stay at that weight. And the next week, try to get 10. And that's progressive overload. Now, when we're getting 10 pretty well, now we up the weight and we only go for 8 again. And we
Yep.
rinse and repeat. So that's one thing. I really like rep ranges rather than just a set number of reps because that makes progressive overload way easier for people to like process. And so something like 8 to 12, I think that's great. Like it serves all that purpose. But again, we just want to remember that what creates muscle is not necessarily like a magic rep range. Like 8 to 12 is great because it's on the higher side, so the weight isn't crazy heavy, but it's low enough that it's not you don't need to do like 30, you know, uh, what am I trying to say? It's the rep range is low enough that you can use heavier weights, but not
Yeah.
so heavy that it's like tough on like your joints and your tendons and ligaments and stuff. So it's great for that. But just remember that it's not magic. Like you can build muscle with only 6 reps. You can build muscle with 20 reps as long as you have the right weight. And this talks about like the proximity to failure, making sure like your overall volume. So your volume is going to be the weight you lifted times how many reps you did. That's actually something that sometimes blows people's mind just because I was a math teacher forever. So I'm always mathing in my head constantly. I remember one of my clients this was a couple of years ago. She was benching. She had 100 pounds and she was able to get it for 10 reps. And I think I'm trying to remember if it was a situation where maybe in the past she had done more reps, but the weight wasn't as heavy or something. And she was just disappointed that she didn't get all of the reps. And I go, hold on, though, stop. Like, think about that for a minute. You just laid on this bench and lifted 1,000 pounds worth of volume. And she was like, oh my God. Like, I'm like
Yeah.
100 pounds times 10 reps. You just pushed 1,000 pounds of volume up off your chest. Like, that's badass. Like, come on. You know what I mean? And so I really like looking at volume of things too. And sometimes that helps people because I have people, do you ever have clients that when they increase the weight and they have to go back down to the lower end of the rep range, they get upset that they didn't get all the reps?
I've not really had that actually.
I have quite a few who, like, say they're doing whatever the exercise is, say 20 pounds, and they're getting all 10. I'm like, okay, you're getting all 10 of them. Let's go up to 25s. Like, even if you don't hit the 10, let's shoot for 8. And if you don't hit 8, that's okay too. Like, we have a goal that we can
Yeah.
reach for with the 25s. And they'll get bummed out. But then when you literally, like, I'll pull out my phone and I'll literally do the math on the volume. I'm like, so you might have done 10 reps with this weight, but when we math it out, you actually did more volume because the weight was more even with less reps. So you've actually
Yeah.
challenged your body. That's still progressive overload. You've challenged your body more. And like trying to like reframe that, like, this is a positive thing. You don't have to always necessarily get all those reps if the total volume increases.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. That's true. I've never thought about it in terms of volume, so that's a really good way of looking at it and just kind of like reframing things.
Hmm.
And also challenging lifting weights, it should be hard. I'm always asking questions of like how 'cause if we're doing a certain rep range, right, with the weight, I always ask questions like how did the last few reps feel? Do you feel like you
Hmm.
could have done 5 more easily or 10
Hmm.
more easily? Do you feel like you were close to like your max? So I'm trying to ask questions to gauge because I can see, but also I don't know how people feel. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I guess wrong. And so I'm always asking questions. And sometimes, especially in the beginning, it's learning what it feels like when it
Yeah.
is challenging and when it is
Yeah.
hard. Because sometimes when people are doing it and you're just feeling it, people are like, oh, no, that's enough. I'm done. But when they can actually do a few more, and that's when it's actually the challenging. So it's like also
Yes.
learning that aspect of it.
That is such a great point because a lot of people, if they're especially new to it, they don't know what it actually feels like to take their body to failure on a
Yeah.
lift. So, like,
Or they're scared too. Like that could be
yeah,
the fear. Yeah.
yeah. And if you don't know what that feels like, how do you know how many more reps I have in me? Because I've never felt what it feels like to be at that far end of it. That's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, oh, damn, I was gonna say now. That's your
I hate
fault.
when that
I
happens.
feel like you gave it to me. God, there was something I literally was thinking it in my head, and then I was like, well, as soon as I'm done with this thought, say the next thought, and
Maybe it'll come
um,
back.
maybe it'll come back. But anyway, and I think it's important too that we know when we talk about rep ranges that it is really good for your body if every so often, 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever weeks, you change the rep
I was going to bring that
range.
up. Yes.
Yep. Because yeah, go. You want to talk about that? Because
Okay.
I feel like I
Yeah. So
talk too
I just was
much.
going to say, no, that's okay. Um, this reminds me of, so I had someone who I used to train her. And then when I moved, like she just, went off on her own. And every now and then she would ask me questions. And we were talking one day and I was asking her questions about her workouts because she just felt like she was stuck. And she had told me, I learned that she was at 10 reps for like a year or more. Like she was
Oh,
only focusing on 10 reps. And I was like, okay, this is why you've plateaued and why you're stuck.
yep.
Whether you have been at 10 reps or it's the 8 to 12 rep range, or even if it's like 6 to 8, 4 to 6, whatever it is, your body is going to respond really well and even better
Yeah.
when you change it up every 4, 6, 8 weeks. Like you do, the progressive overload for so long. And then maybe it's 4 to 8 reps. And then, okay, now we're going to 8 to 12 or like
Mm-hmm.
vice versa. So the novelty aspect of it,
Yes.
not changing. There used to be this myth where it was like changing the workout every single time to like
Oh,
shock your body. No, no,
yeah.
no. That's not what we're
No.
talking about.
No,
Not
no,
what we're
no.
talking about. You're doing one thing and the rep
Yeah.
range and exercises for a certain amount of time over and over and over again to work on that
Mm-hmm.
progressive overload. But then bam, now we're changing up that novelty. We're switching it up,
Yep.
the rep range to uh I don't want to say shock your body. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
What am I
No, it
trying to say? Like
it's a different stimulus. It just creates a
different
different
stimulus,
adaptation. Yeah.
adaptation. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. With the same exercise, like we don't
Yes.
have to keep changing everything up. Like you can do the exact same exercise, just change your rep range, which makes you change the weight that you're lifting. And it creates a totally different stimulus. And that's when you're gonna like, I think people, when you do a program or something for a certain amount of time, they stop feeling sore and they're like, I'm doing something wrong. I'm not sore, which we know isn't the case. But then the second you change the rep range and they're picking weights that are appropriate for that new rep range, all of a sudden they're sore again because your body is now adapting to a different stimulus. So
Yes.
yeah, so important, so important.
And when we're talking about adapting in this sense for working out and lifting, the adaptation is then to build muscle. Like that's the
Yes.
response. Whereas when we're talking about adaptation within nutrition and
Mhm.
metabolism, that's when your adaptation is, what am I trying to say? It's uh the
It's
adaptation is
it's
it's not.
slowing down.
Yes, exactly. It's slowing down, which is not what
Yeah,
you want.
right.
And
Yeah,
it makes
it's
it
like
harder then to lose weight because your body is adapting to that low of calorie,
there
or
it is.
it's
Yeah.
adapting to the slow metabolism. That's what I was trying.
Yeah, like your metabolism adapts down to the level of energy coming in. So when you're not
Yes.
eating a lot of calories, it's going to adapt down to meet that.
Yes.
But
Oh, and
muscle, yeah.
sorry,
No, I was
what
saying,
were you
but
gonna say?
muscle,
Oh,
we're building, we're growing, so that's a good thing.
yes. And the other thing is when we are doing, let's say, the elliptical or cardio
Mm.
or trying to burn a lot of calories, your body is adapting to burning a lot of calories. That's going to get really, really good at that. So the adaptation is also a slower metabolism
Yep. Yep. There's
versus lifting weights.
I know you did or still I don't know, you listen to Mind Pump, right?
Yeah.
Sal on Mind Pump wrote a book. You ever read his book or do you have his
No,
book?
but I should.
It's very good. I have it here, and it is. I've tons of pages marked in it because like it is very, very good. And one of the things that he talks about is how when we are doing a lot of cardio, it's like basically he talks about the signals that we're sending our body based on the exercise that we try to do. And so when we're in a period of time where we're doing a lot of cardio, we're sending the signal to our body that hey, we need to get lighter so that we can get more efficient at this cardio, and your body is naturally going to pare down muscle. And so you have to make sure you're always, if you're doing cardio, you're also strength training so that you still continue to send that build signals to your body so that your body
Yes.
doesn't get rid of the muscle. And that's why a lot of the metabolism drops because you're losing muscle.
Yes. It's the signal that we're sending for that adaptation.
Yes.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. I do need to read that book.
It is
I'm
pretty good. And
surprised I haven't yet.
it's pretty I've always loved Sal. Like he just his science brain I love he writes
Yes.
and the way he explains things is the same way he wrote the book. It's easy. It's a pretty easy read. It's
I
easy to
love the way
understand.
he explains things.
Yeah, he's so
Yes.
good at it. Okay, so one of the things I did want to mention though, in with all of this, while we know that all rep ranges can build muscle, one of the things that we do know, however, in I'm trying to remember what article it was. It said specifically, I think it was it John Rusin maybe, talking about how if strength is the goal. So building muscle and building strength are not necessarily the same thing.
That's a good
And
point.
yeah,
Yes.
that's why like in powerlifting, we're going more for optimal strength, not necessarily big muscles. And so strength being like the density of the muscle. So we want to build muscle density for strength, and that does require low rep ranges. So heavyweight, low reps, like 1 to 5 was what they considered low. Actually, this says up to 6. Now that I'm looking at it. And then it said a moderate rep range would be 6 to 10, and then high reps are 15 plus. And so they talk about how, like we said, like changing the rep range is you want to consider that fatigue on your joints and your ligaments and your tendons and things. So, a good example right now, my powerlifters who competed back in November, they've now done they did a whole prep to lead up to their meet. And then we just did a whole nother 12-week cycle. And I was like, okay, like we need to change it up. So they're currently in a 6-week block where they have nothing that is under 6 reps because I want them working, first of all, in you know, different rep range, again, that adaptation, but
Yep.
I just want to give their body a break. I want to kind
Mm,
of, when
yeah.
we want to look at the long game, right? All of us want to be able to keep doing all this shit until we're 90. So in order to do that, we've got to make sure we're taking care of our joints and our ligaments and all of that stuff. So giving their bodies a little bit of a break for a few weeks, or in this case 6 weeks, and then we'll go back to our regular powerlifting programming after. But that's something to consider to not always, if even if strength is the goal, still even then make sure that you're changing it up. And then also like remember what specific exercise you're doing when you consider your rep ranges. Like if you're doing like a barbell squat, you're probably not going to do 15. Like I wouldn't really recommend it. Anyway, just being a compound movement where you have multiple
Yeah.
joints working, as opposed to like bicep curls. I might do 15 bicep curls, but you're never gonna catch me doing 15 back squats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's
that's
a good point.
important too, to remember the amount of overall fatigue that you're putting on your body when you're doing a compound movement as opposed to a more isolation movement where you only have one joint moving definitely makes a difference.
That's a good point too. Yeah. And the way that you set up the workout with those then too, like in the beginning, squat, lower reps, you're probably not gonna do bicep curls in the very beginning. Like,
Mhm.
that's why
Yep.
if you're like, oh, that's, most of the time I see bicep curls at the end of the workout. And it
Mhm.
depends on what the purpose is. Like if it's, there can be
And goals and
reasons. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So, but yes, just to that
Yeah.
point there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I don't know that we ever that we talk about that. Like you write the program and it's like in my head when I'm
Yeah.
writing the program, I know, but I don't know that I really even talk to my clients so much about why that is the
Yeah.
way it is. Like we always start with our main compound movement. We squat, we bench, we deadlift, we overhead press, whatever. That's always first.
Yep.
And then our accessories come after, and bis and tris are always at the end. Abs are always at
Mhm.
the end. Um,
I sometimes actually do core in the beginning now, especially
mm,
um I've been doing it more and more because the type of people
ah,
that I get, their core is very, very much lacking. And
mm-hmm.
not only that, but it kind of preps and primes them to engage their core for squats,
I
for
was about to
deadlifts,
ask
for
that.
exercises. Yeah. So like for all of my clients right now, I've kind of been switching it to where we're doing core
Oh,
like in the very beginning. Yeah. Like weighted type core, not just
yeah,
plank, not just side plank, but like different exercises to help them feel it in
yeah.
their core. So then
Hmm.
they go into it. Yeah.
That's I was gonna say, like, have you noticed if it helps them as far as bracing and stuff?
I don't know
Huh.
yet, but, I need to be better
Yeah.
about asking those type of questions in the workout, but, like, as the weeks go on, then I'll definitely do that.
Yeah. That's a thought. Hmm.
That's a
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
like a good thought. Like I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna have to like sit on that one for a minute because that's a hell of an
Mhm.
idea. Because
And
I find that with a lot of people, even my power lifters sometimes, it's like getting to making sure that they're bracing
yeah.
properly for the load. And kind of like you mentioned it, something that's been rolling in my head, something you mentioned in the last episode about when we were talking about supersets, and you were
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you can like maybe pre-fatigue a muscle because then in whatever exercise it helps people feel that muscle a little bit better.
Same
Kind
thing
of
with
the
the
same
core.
idea.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the same
Yeah.
concept.
And
Hmm.
I can actually tell them that too. Like there's been times when I have them do like a core superset or we're working on core in the beginning. And then that way I can like cue them, okay, when we're going into this, I want you to, brace your core and feel it in your core, kind of similar to how we did in that core exercise too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been loving doing that lately.
Oh, look at you. Love to see it. Love to
See, I know
see
what
it.
I'm
No, that's
talking about.
great. But who knew? No, that's a great idea. I like that.
Uh,
Let's see what else we got here. Any other myths? Yeah, that one's I don't care about that one. Yeah, and this myth was like, I mean, we've already like debunked this myth like 5 times, but the myth was there's one perfect rep range for each goal, and we know that that's just not the case.
Not
Um,
true.
However, when it comes to, like we said earlier, the marketing and all of that, that's and what they say is going to be the toning. We know that that's bullshit. But other than that, it doesn't matter. They all can build
Yeah.
muscle. It just all depends on your load, your volume, even the frequency. If you're only going and
Yeah.
if you're only lifting 1 day a week, you absolutely can see progress even with only 1 day a week or even with just 2 days a week, 30-minute workouts. But the reality is that if you can get yourself 3 days a week, maybe even four, you're going to see change probably faster.
Yeah.
And it just comes down to an expectation of results. Do you know what I mean?
And your reality, like what's your
Reality.
season of life in
Hmm.
right now? Like if you only can right now realistically make time for
Hmm.
1 day a week or 2 days a week or
Then fine.
10 minutes every day, like you have to be realistic with
Hmm.
yourself too, and it can change, but it's also a matter of like what you're, where you're at
Yeah.
with that as
Yeah.
well.
And it's just keeping the expectations in check appropriate to that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, whatever it
Yep.
is, if you're only able to get in one workout a week, that's amazing, get in one workout a week, but just expectations, as opposed to
Yep.
like I find that I know people who they will have had a period of life where life wasn't quite so chaotic for them and they were able to get all 4 workouts in a week. And then fast forward a year or 2 and they're only able to get in 1 or 2, we can't compare that version of us to the version of us that was doing 4 a week. Like just from
Yeah.
an expectation perspective, you just can't do that.
That's a good
And
point.
you just have to, be proud of yourself for doing what you can do in spite of lifing, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a good point.
and there's a lot of research too on like maintenance of muscle. Like you
Yeah.
may not necessarily be building muscle with only 1 day a week, but you're not losing it
Yeah.
because you're still 1 day a week. And then when life uh, gets a little less crazy, or whatever it is that's keeping you from doing a couple more workouts a week, then you can start building muscle again. But in the meantime, you're
Yeah.
maintaining, which is huge because you're still supporting your metabolism. You're still doing all of those things. So yeah.
Yep. I have a client who shout out to Chris. I'm sure she's listening. Hello. Hey,
Hey,
hello.
Chris.
But this was probably like a few months ago. She just had mentioned how she noticed that when she wasn't working out as much, or she had a vacation or a trip and she wasn't working out or whatever it was, she felt like she didn't lose progress. And we even had a conversation of like when she got back, it was easier to get back into it. I don't remember exactly what it was, something along those lines. And I had to tell her, I was like, dude, you've built up currency to be able to
Mhm.
not work out as much. And
Yes.
you have that muscle, like your metabolism is still up. It's easier to get back into it. Your body's going to respond really well when you get back into it because of the work that you have put in
Yep.
up into this point. So that maintaining
Exactly.
that muscle aspect of it, like, really played into that.
Yup. Yup.
Yeah.
This huge. I had 2 actually that went out at about the same time. One had a baby, one had a surgery. And then they both end up coming back at the same time too after recovery. And not Elizabeth had her baby like that, that's like the whole different situation. But when Allison came back after her surgery, she was like, she was like really like dreading getting back. She's like, it's going to take me, because she had that like frame of reference before, how long it took her to build that muscle to begin with and to get that
Oh,
strength.
yeah.
And she's like, I feel like I lost everything. I forget how long she was at least 8, if not 12 weeks. But she just like the other day, I was like, okay, where are we like in relation to um compared to prior to surgery? And she was like, almost all of her lifts except her deadlift, but even her deadlift was only like 10 pounds off.
Oh
Everything
my
else was
god.
already back to where it was. And she came back, it was after the first of the year, and this was like a week or 2 ago, so it was only like a month and a half, and she was right back to where she was prior to surgery.
Yep,
She's like, I am so glad that I took the time to lift
yep,
and get strong prior to that surgery, because it has paid off huge coming back from
yep,
surgery.
yep,
Yep.
yep.
All right. I
Love
feel
that.
like that's all I've got on that topic, but I'm going to completely turn this conversation into a whole other direction, and I'm trying to freaking find this in my phone. I have a friend who he wanted me to I told him, I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk about this on the podcast to Sophia. And he was like, make sure you tell her that your gay friend says this. And I'm like, okay, here we go. So I love him so much. He's like one of my favorite
Yes.
humans in the world. And he and I taught together when I lived in Las Vegas. And we've still stayed friends even after I moved. Like I haven't lived in Vegas now for almost 12 years, and so we've still stayed in touch.
Oh, I
He
love that.
he has family, like his hometown is in Missouri, and so a couple of summers ago he went with, and he took his sons, and his one son is only a month older than my son, and
Okay,
so like
yeah.
we have these babies together, all this,
Yes.
and so he'll take the boys up to his hometown, and my son and I drove up there and met with them, and we like stayed up at the place. We just had a lot of fun. So anyway, I don't even remember how it came up, but I was talking about menopause. And it came because of the menopause episode we did a couple of episodes back.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking about menopause, and he was like, oh, I love menopause. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you even talking about? And he was like, you should do a menopause calendar. And I'm like, a menopause calendar? I'm like, Chuck, I'm like, totally not getting what he's saying. And then he starts sending me pictures of his idea of the menopause calendar. Can you see it? Men,
Oh.
pause. So it's men
Pause.
holding, like, you can't see it in the damn camera, but men
Animals.
holding dogs. And he was
Yes.
like, men, pause, PAWS. And so he's like sending me all these pictures. He's like, that can be a podcast fundraiser. You can do a menopause calendar. And he's like, and make sure she knows that your gay friend said that this is what you should do. So I'm like, yes, I meant to bring it up in the last episode. And I
Oh
don't
my
even know.
God.
Something we just said reminded me of him because he's actually currently on a health journey himself and just started
Oh,
lifting.
nice.
Took me a very long time to get him to start lifting, and he finally did, and he loves it, and he's making amazing progress.
Good.
So something we said here reminded me of him, and I was like, oh, menopause calendar, I have to bring it up.
Menopause. I love that.
Menopause.
That's awesome. I know,
like,
at first I'm like, wait, where are you going with this?
Yeah, what is that? I probably everybody was thinking that because, and that's like
that.
literally every conversation with him is exactly where are we going with this, because he's just like so witty. Like he has the greatest sense of humor, and like you never know what he's going to say. He's truly one of the funniest people that I know. So
God,
when he
awesome.
starts sending me the menopause pictures, I was like, okay, I see where you're going with this.
That's awesome.
So maybe a menopause calendar to support the podcast one day. We'll see. We'll see.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway,
that reminds me too. Kiana says something to you.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Yes.
Also, I did it wrong apparently on the. I wish I knew I did, but okay. She says.
Why?
So at first she's like, tell her I say, and then that off air. She's like, tell her I say off air that, and I was like, why can't I say it on air?
Yeah.
What? So then she said fine. So yeah.
So it was just no real reason. That's just what she wanted to say. Okay, I didn't know if like maybe I said something that made her be like,
oh no.
Okay.
No.
You snorted. I have yet to snort on this podcast. I am proud of myself because I am a snorter, man. I will snorter. Yeah, I am. So I'm proud of myself. I've never done it while we were recording. So
so I have to pee really bad, but also so we're an hour and a half in. I was gonna bring up some other things like about reps, but this will maybe be good for a separate podcast. But it was about, and actually Kiana had the idea to because she asked like what we were talking about today. But we should bring up maybe on the next episode in the beginning or something, things like negatives and to failure, to failure, but it's called myo reps. Have you heard of this? It's like kind of been going, I guess she sees it all the time on TikTok now, but it's you go to failure, rest 10 seconds, go to failure, and then you're done. But it's just like different modalities, like different ways of doing reps.
Is that not like a drop set?
No, not a drop set. It's not a drop set.
Okay.
It's you're like whatever. Maybe at the end of maybe I should have asked her if it's like at the end of the exercise,
like
but you're going to like, I'm just thinking like a leg extension machine. Like you're going to failure, you rest 10 seconds and then you go to failure again, but you're not changing the weight. You're just like,
just however many reps
whatever.
it is, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just to like really burn out. Okay. Yeah. I can see that.
MYO, myo reps cluster set is, I guess. But no, I just was saying, so like talking about that and doing like isometrics and negatives and like when you're doing more explosive moves and drop sets and pyramid sets, like maybe talking about like
that would be great.
Yeah, for a separate
and
episode.
Even I think that's awesome. Like just the different like kind of the what is that? Like different modalities? What I don't know.
Different ways of doing it, maybe? I don't know.
The terminology. We'll look it up before,
yeah.
before we record it. We'll figure out the word. But I think that would be a great one because I think that there's so much to be gained from changing up how you do. Like I love giving finishers and shit to people. And even just talking about maybe even, I don't know if you do it at all, but like some of the finishers I'll give people that are literally just to burn out at the end of a workout, you know? And like it's sometimes there's fun, you know?
Yeah. Or even just like sometimes if we're sticking with that same rep range with that weight, like how you were talking about going to 8 reps and then 9 and then 10 over time. But also I'll sometimes talk to clients about like, okay, how can you make this exercise harder, but like by slowing it down, but we're
Tempo.
still keeping that same, tempo. There we go.
Mhm.
Tempo. So like changing tempo, incorporating that into
Yeah.
the things that we're doing with rep
Yeah.
ranges and progressive overload and things like that.
Yeah, I think that'd
So
be
that
a
would
great
be,
episode. Yeah, that would
yeah,
be a good one. I think that all of that, honestly, I think is a whole hour in itself. So I think that'd be awesome.
yeah.
That's cool.
So that'd be
Yeah.
good.
All right.
Okay.
Funsies. All right.
All right.
Well, until next time, friends, don't forget to follow us on the socials at ubobpod. And email us ubobpod@gmail.com. Merch store is still open. Hoodies are fixed. I think that's all we got.
Yeah. Okay.
Leave us a good
Sounds good.
review.
A great review.
Great review. 5 stars, please. All
Yes.
right, y'all.
Okay.
Catch you
Well,
later.
Bye for now.
Bye.